Hi, welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the equation of a circle. Our goal is, given a graph, can we find the general equation of a circle? And given the equation, can we find the center, radius, and then, of course, do a graph with it? As you can see, this equation is centered around h and k, which is the center of the circle. So the center of the circle will go in these two values, the h and k, and then the length of the radius will go over here. We're going to square it. I'm not going to go into detail about how this equation is being derived or how it works. We can always talk about that later. So let's do a couple of examples and let's get to it. So here I want to graph and write the equation of the circle given this center and this radius. So the center is the center of the circle, so we're going to go to negative 4, 3. We're going to plot that right here. This is the center of the circle. The radius is 3, which means it's going to go 3 to the left, 3 to the right, 3 in every direction, right? So below and above. And then we can do our best by connecting these points in a circular form. And this is where our circle is graphed. Now, given this picture, we can also find the equation. The general equation of the circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals the radius squared. The center is our h and k value, so we're going to literally just plug these values in here. And as you can see, we have x minus negative 4 plus y minus 3, and then the radius becomes squared. The minus and negative should change to x plus 4, y minus 3, and then 3 squared is just 9. Here's our equation of a circle. Notice how when we look at the h and k values will always end up switching to the opposite value. If it's a positive number, it'll change to negative, and if it's a negative number, it changes to positive. And then the radius will always be squared, as you can see here. Let's try another example. Now, given the picture, can we go about finding the equation of the circle? Well, from here we can figure out what the radius is, the center. This is the center, which is our h and k. The center is at negative 5, negative 1. That's our h and k value. The radius, we just have to count horizontally, right? We have 1, 2, 3. The radius is equal to 3. You can count it vertically as well if you like. It doesn't really matter. The radius should be the same in any direction. Now, given this information, we can plug it into our general equation. X minus h plus y minus k equals the radius squared. So, again, I want to plug in the h and the k. Notice how we have a negative. So we have x minus negative 5 plus y minus negative 1. And then the radius squared. The radius won't always be 3. It's just easier to draw a smaller circle than a big circle on the graph. So this minus and negative should change to x plus 5 and y plus 1 equals 9. There's our equation. So given the picture, we found the equation. And then earlier, we were given the information to draw the picture and find the equation. Let's go of a slightly different route. Let's say that we are given the equation. Can we find the center, the radius from here, and go from there? Remember how the general equation is x minus h squared plus y minus k? I know earlier we said that the h and k will always be opposite. So if I wanted to find h and k, I would have to take the opposite of that sign. So the center would be positive 3, and then this plus 1 would be a negative 1. The h and k will always be opposite. because the minus changes the sign, right? Minus a negative made it a plus. Therefore, that means that this plus 1 meant it was a minus a negative value. And that's how we get that -1 for our center. The radius, before when we were given the radius, we always squared the value. So instead of squaring it, we're going to unsquare it, which is the square root. So the square root of 16 is just 4. Now that we have our center and our radius, we can graph it. The center is at 3, -1, so it's over here. And the radius is 4, so we're going to go 4 to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4 up, 4 to the left, and then 4 down. And then, of course, we want to just connect these points as smoothly as possible. It's okay if your circle looks a bit of a rhombus or maybe like a diamond, but if you can try to connect those in a circular form as much as possible, there we go. We have ourselves a circle. I'll try this one again. All right, let's do one last example. Let's try to put a few more things together. But this is the essence of it. Can we write the equation of the circle? Right? What two things do we need to find the equation? We need the center and we need the radius. We need two things. We already have the center here at 3, -4. We already have h and k. That's it. Right? So in our equation, we have x minus h plus y minus k equals the radius squared. So we can already plug this portion of the equation. We can have x minus 3 plus, now y minus -4 should change it to y plus 4. We just need to figure out what this radius is in order for us to be able to square it. So by looking at this, I can see that if I count up 1, 2, 3, it goes a little bit more than 3. 1, 2, 3, and some. I don't want to assume that this is 3.5. I don't know if it's 3.6. I don't know what decimal that is. So in order to find this out, we're going to choose a point that we do know exists on the circle. This one. And we're going to find the radius directly to this point. Now, as we discussed in the other video, the 10.1 video with circumference and radius and diameter, the basics of circles, we know that to find anything given 2 points, we can use this Pythagorean theorem. We can find a squared equals, so a would be 3, b would be 2, and we can find what c value is. Right? A squared plus b squared equals c squared. We can always use Pythagorean theorem because we can count horizontally and vertically. So I'm going to do some math here on the side. We have a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Some basic Pythagorean theorem will give us the length of that radius. So 9 plus 4 equals c squared. 13 equals c squared. And then to solve for c, we square root both sides. So the radius is going to equal to the square root of 13. That's this length. Now that I have the radius, I can plug my radius into my equation. The radius will always be squared as part of the equation, right? So what happens when we square that part? What happens when I square the radius? I have x minus 3 plus y plus 4, this hasn't changed, equals the square root squared. And yes, the square root and the square should cancel each other, they're inverses. So now we have the general equation of our circle is x minus 3 squared plus y plus 4 squared equals 13. There it is. We have our equation of a circle. The only thing that we really needed to do was find these two values, right? The center and the radius. And because we couldn't count and find the exact answer of the radius, we did Pythagorean theorem. All right, guys, I hope this has helped. Please let us know if you have any questions. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, we'll calculate later.